Michael Allen, Alien, welcome to Big Up. Your work is so phenomenal, meaningful, and emotive. And thank you for being on the show and sharing with our watchers and listeners a little bit about how you got into art, why you're Michael Allen, Alien. And I know you're basically a movement. I know you and your partner, too, together you do really amazing actions in the city. And so I just want you to talk. I want to shut up and hear all the things.
Thank you. That it's so kind of you to have me here, and I really appreciate it. Not sure where to begin. I liked how you said Michael Allen Alien. What is it? I decided to put Alien, with my name because I felt the name was it's kind of ego. It's kind of like we have these names, and it's a great way. The alien to me is more of a artistic statement, and it becomes more of a way to exist without needing a system and kind of break down systems as being alien, to get away from Michael and like needs as a person, just to exist in this kind of way that just keeps going, whether it's in the street or painting in the studio. The alien is a great way to just to change the idea of self.
And can you share how what it is you do? I mean, we can see what you do in your background, but what brought you to art and what some of the actions you do out on the street are.
What brought me to art is I was always drawing as a kid. It's like kind of my first memory. I've had a really strange, I guess everyone has a strange, but I've had a strange introduction to art. I didn't know I was making art as a kid. I was outside of New York, even though I was inside New York, I was always an outsider. It has to do with classism and how New York was structured in the 80s, late 70s. And we were always moving around New York and being pushed out of spaces, my family. And I guess drawing was a coping mechanism as a kid. Um, Still is. And as time evolved, everything I was doing was drawing. Just a kid drawing and scribbling, getting myself into trouble with art, but I didn't know it was art. I didn't have any people around me or friends saying, "Hey, this is art." This is very young, very naive, and I was using it to understand the city because everything was moving and changing, and our family was changing. A lot of family members were passing on. There was so much crime in the city, and it was just difficult for me to accept that life of New York. Um, so I guess in my child mind, that was my way to exist, to survive. A lot of my friends didn't survive. So in time, you know, continually doing something every day, people eventually point you in your path. And through street work and constantly drawing and bringing my art everywhere and meeting people, other humans would say, "Hey, this is art. You should continue this path." And I was doing stuff as a musician, which was Michael Allen Alien. It was kind of a band. I was DJing and making this mouth brush music, which is kind of fine art stuff, strange sound art, and just bringing myself everywhere. Painting on myself as a kid, making my own. Even when I was a kid, I was making my own shirts and making my own mixtapes, and I was just eclectic. I was kind of doing everything for the love of it. And eventually, you do something enough, people notice. But it was very difficult because you still have, but you had this kind of class situation. So nobody really wanted to give anyone love in that time period in my. I think a lot of people could feel that and get that. So it was very hard in New York, and it still can be in that realm of boxes and systems and judgment. So that's something my art's always been about. And I used to have these big parties and events where I would just kind of let anyone show work or performances or these nightclub events and just try to, bring in as much as I can. I don't know. Eventually I'm here. I'm always painting on myself and drawing on myself everywhere I go. But to me, that's a statement of being in the moment. And people think maybe he has something to sell on the street, or maybe what is he doing? And I like that kind of confusion. Those are always statements to me. And it's always, for me, it's a performance constantly. Everything's kind of a performance. I wouldn't say I'm the best speaker, but I'm more of a best active artist living. And to myself, I'm trying to constantly let go of Michael and just be, bring the outside in and the inside out, and just forget all the boxes and squares and circles and judgments, and just be that energy.
How come, like, people find your work and be able to buy your work and support the work that you do, this so that you can keep being this 24 hours a day artist and helping others with, your example of transforming your life through art?
Well, we have a website, Michael Allen Art. Allen is ALAN. And then anyone can look up Michael and then ALAN, Alien, ALIEN. On Instagram, we started a TikTok. I have a personal Facebook. I try to keep things more personal. I'm not so great with all the media, but we're working on it. I'm more in the moment. But people could get works. It's pretty easy on the site, or different shows, or not. I really love people just enjoying and being present with the work as well, and just kind of being a part. As you mentioned earlier, we have the living installation that I do with my partner, Jadda, and with my mom. It's really special to me to have this collaborative family piece. It's just lovely. Jadda Cat is the best part of my life, and my mom, they're the best thing going. So where we are now is in the space that we've transformed in for them. When my father passed away before COVID, I didn't want to see my mom go to a nursing home, and I didn't want the family, my only living relative is my mom, and I didn't want her to, be another statistic to the situation. So I took a full stance, and I took her, we got this space, and we make work here, and we live here, and it's very intimate and very special. And that's trying to be an example to myself and to my community around me with that. That's the most important thing, right? And
Yeah.
my partner does the most outlandish performances where she has no idea, she can't see what she's doing. They're hours, and I do them with her, where we transform ourselves into living paintings. And it's all about the moment and letting go of time. And that's the living installation on Instagram for now. And also, if you could catch them, they happen a lot. Sometimes they're every day. We don't necessarily go by a clock of man. we just kind of go, and it's all being made live constantly. Like even this jacket, I'm making these things, like I'm still adding on to them as I'm going. I like that idea of just still adding on. Yeah, even though I have completed works and I have series and all the things artists need, I'm constantly working and constantly creating. So my own mental health, and also, for the community around me, because, we are in a box, and I try to,
Yeah.
I try my best to advocate and to be a voice of, at least to try to help me, myself, and everyone just stop and just take that minute. Because the city, I've only lived in New York and the different boroughs besides the Bronx, and it becomes very difficult to see anything else. And especially in the light where everyone's moving so fast paced. So I've always found that I've been able to I had the gift from, to slow things down, to hopefully create like a little bit of illusions. And that's been the most important thing, to just show up at the doctor's office, not knowing what's going to happen, but to have a painting that I'm working on right before I go under some treatment. But then the nurses and the doctors are inspired because their life is difficult. It's not about me. It's not about if I'm going to be okay. That's not what's important. What's important is the message. So that's what I've found most important, because when it becomes something else, then I lose the next state of growth.